Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something critical for anyone who plays online, especially poker: fair play. We're going to focus on ClubGG and how they tackle this. And why should you, our listener, tune in for this? Well, look, whether you play casually or competitively, you need confidence. Confidence that it's your skill, your strategy, maybe a bit of luck, deciding the outcome, not cheats. This is basically your shortcut to understanding how these platforms protect the game.
That's absolutely right. Our mission today is pretty clear. We're going to unpack ClubGG's official rules, look at the tech they're using, some of it's quite advanced, and also clarify what your responsibilities are as a player. And when we talk about fair play, based on the sources, it boils down to one thing: consistency. Everyone plays under the exact same conditions, the outcome. Skill, strategy, and, chance. No hidden edges, no manipulation. That's the foundation.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Before we dive into the solutions, the defenses, we really need to understand the threats. What are we actually up against? What kind of things really damage the poker ecosystem online?
Right, because these threats are serious, they really undermine trust. The first big one, and maybe the most common people think of, is bots. These are automated programs that can play poker, often using pretty sophisticated strategies derived from game theory.
And they play 24/7, right? No fatigue.
Exactly. They don't get tired, they don't tilt, they just execute. A human player over the long haul. It's incredibly hard, maybe impossible, to compete against that kind of relentless consistency. Then the second major threat is collusion. This one's a bit sneakier. It involves two or more players secretly working together.
Sharing whole cards, maybe coordinating bets.
Precisely. Sharing info, trapping another player.
Yeah.
It turns what should be an individual game into an unfair team sport. Completely breaks the game's integrity.
And the third one you mentioned, chip dumping. That sounds less about gameplay strategy and more about, well, moving money around.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Chip dumping is when someone deliberately loses chips to another player, maybe through obviously terrible plays. It's often used to transfer funds illicitly or, manipulate tournament results. All three: bots, collusion, chip dumping, they poison the well for everyone.
Okay, so those are the dangers. What about the defense? ClubGG says they have a zero-tolerance policy. Cheating, collusion, bots, third-party software, all banned. But lots of places say that. How do we know it's actually enforced? What's tangible?
Right, talk is cheap. The enforcement seems to hinge on a few key things. They mention encrypted gameplay data, constant behavior analysis, and importantly, a dedicated security team that actually reviews suspected breaches. It's a mix of automated systems and human judgment.
Now, this is where I think it gets really interesting. How does this compare to, say, other club-based platforms like PokerBros or PPPoker are often mentioned? What makes ClubG different, according to the sources?
That comparison is actually pretty revealing. The key difference seems to be the centralization of enforcement. On many club-based sites, enforcing rules can sometimes fall to individual club owners.
Which sounds like a potential conflict of interest.
Exactly. If a player who bends the rules is also bringing in a lot of rake for the club owner, well, the incentive to investigate thoroughly might not always be there. It creates inconsistency. ClubGG seems to avoid that by having a single platform-wide system. The rules are the same everywhere, and the security team reports to the platform, not individual clubs. Plus, they emphasize being proactive. They're apparently scanning for weird patterns before anyone even complains.
Proactive scanning. Okay, that leads us straight into the technology. You said it's multi-layered. That's really the engine driving this fair play promise, isn't it?
It absolutely has to be. It's the backbone.
Oh,
We're talking about some pretty sophisticated stuff designed to catch things that just don't look human.
Let's focus on the AI, the machine learning side of things. It's running in the background, scanning millions of hands. What kind of red flags is it specifically looking for? The sources mentioned three main things.
Okay, first, the AI flags irregular betting patterns. These are plays or bet sizes that just fall way outside statistical norms for human players in similar situations. Second, unrealistic win rates.
Like mathematically impossible to sustain over time without some kind of help?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Especially over large samples, it suggests some kind of algorithmic assistance is involved. And the third one, which I find fascinating, is impossible reaction times.
Yeah, that one really stands out, like clicking fold or call faster than humanly possible, or maybe too consistently timed?
Exactly, or sometimes even too perfectly random, trying to mimic human inconsistency but failing. And the key thing, as you hinted, is that these AI systems learn, they adapt. So new cheating methods designed to evade older checks, the AI can potentially pick those up over time.
That's clever, so it's not just static rules.
Not at all. And building on that, there's the behavior analysis and tracking. This gets really granular. It looks at things like your typical bet sizing, the hands you choose to play, how quickly you act on average versus specific situations, your fold call raise tendencies, and why gather all that detail? Well, it's specifically used to identify bot accounts, which often have very rigid, predictable patterns. And crucially, it helps spot players using RTA, real-time assistance.
Okay, let's pause on RTA for a second. Some might think, isn't using a chart or a tool just smart play? Why is that a zero tolerance thing during a live hand?
It's a really important distinction. Using tools to study away from the table, that's learning. Using RTA during a hand, that fundamentally changes the game. It's like having a supercomputer whisper the optimal move in your ear.
So it removes the human element, the pressure, the intuition, the strategic thinking in the moment.
Precisely. It turns poker from this complex game of skill and psychology under pressure into basically just data entry, following instructions. It completely undermines the competitive balance. It's not about enhancing your skill, it's about replacing it with a machine's calculation. That's why it's banned.
Makes sense. It's an unfair advantage, plain and simple.
And they're constantly adapting to catch it. Early bots tried using simple delays to look human, but the AI got smarter, looking for the lack of natural human variance in those delays.
Yeah.
It's looking for that telltale sign of automation, even when it's trying to hide.
Okay, so that covers individual cheating like bots and RTA. What about players working together? Collusion, or people using multiple accounts? How does the system tackle that, especially if players aren't even in the same room?
That requires connecting dots across different games and accounts. For collusion detection, the systems analyze massive amounts of hand histories. They're looking for statistically unlikely patterns, like two players consistently winning pots together, or strange folding patterns that benefit one specific player at the table repeatedly. And to combat multi-accounting and things like ghosting, where someone else plays in your account, they use device and IP monitoring. But it's more than just checking IP addresses, which can be masked. They use device fingerprinting.
Ah, right. That creates a unique ID for the actual device, the phone, the tablet, the computer, based on its specific settings and hardware.
Exactly. It's much harder to spoof than an IP address. The goal is to prevent one person from playing multiple hands at the same table or coordinating actions across accounts, which is how chip dumping and some forms of team play are facilitated.
So we've got this extensive tech shield, but ultimately the players themselves have a role. You have to agree to the rules. What are the specific commitments you make when you sign up and play on ClubGG?
Right, when you create an account, you essentially sign a contract. You agree to play only using your own account, your own identity. You agree to basic sportsmanship. And critically, you agree not to use any unauthorized tools, scripts, or outside help that gives you an edge. You also have to agree to cooperate if they investigate something.
And the list of things you absolutely cannot do, the prohibited behaviors, is very specific. Zero tolerance, we've mentioned the big ones, collusion, chip dumping, bot usage. But it also explicitly includes multi-accounting. Even if you're not cheating in other ways, just having multiple accounts can be an issue. And harassment or abuse towards other players. And as we just discussed, RTA real-time assistance is a huge one. No charts, no solvers, no software helping you during the hand. The message is clear. Use your brain, not external aids.
And if you break these rules, the consequences aren't trivial. They have a tiered system. Minor stuff may be unintentional, might get a warning or a temporary suspension. But for serious proven violations, using bots, colluding using RTA, it's typically a permanent ban. No second chances.
And there's a really crucial financial consequence too, right? Confiscation.
Yes, and this is arguably the biggest deterrent. Confiscation of winnings. If the platform determines funds were won unfairly through cheating or illicit means, they reserve the right to seize those winnings. This removes the financial incentive entirely. Even if you cheat and win temporarily, you don't profit. It neutralizes the motive.
That's a powerful tool, and it's not just on the platform to catch cheats. Players have a responsibility too. How does ClubGG expect players to report suspicious stuff?
They make it pretty clear. There's usually an in-game reporting feature, or you can contact support, often via email. The key thing they stress is providing details. Don't just say player X is cheating. Give usernames, specific hand IDs if possible, screenshots, describe what looks suspicious. Evidence helps them investigate faster and more effectively.
Okay, so all these measures, the tech, the rules, the consequences, ultimately, how does this circle back and benefit you, the everyday player? What's the payoff for dealing with this strict environment?
Well, the main benefit is trust. Confidence that the game you're playing is legitimate. It protects your money, your bankroll, from being unfairly taken. And honestly, it just makes for a better experience, less frustration, less suspicion. You can actually focus on playing poker, improving your strategy, rather than wondering if the person across the virtual table is a bot or getting real-time advice.
And beyond just not cheating, are there simple things players should do to stay on the right side of the guidelines? General good practice.
Absolutely. Basic digital security is important.
Hmm.
Use a strong, unique password for your account. Enable two-factor authentication, 2FA if it's offered. That's a big one. And just general responsible play. Don't be abusive in chat. Don't intentionally slow the game down to annoy people, that kind of thing. Standard online etiquette, really.
So zooming out for a second, the strong stance on fair play, the investment in tech, what's the bigger picture impact?
I think the bigger picture is about the long-term health of the online poker world. A platform like ClubGG, by taking a proactive, centralized approach to integrity, helps build and maintain trust in the ecosystem as a whole. That attracts new players, keeps experienced players engaged, and ultimately ensures the game itself remains challenging and rewarding for the right reasons. It benefits everyone involved.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. So let's wrap this up. We've seen that fair play on a platform like ClubGG isn't just a suggestion. It's enforced by some serious technology, AI, behavior tracking, and backed by very strict, centrally managed rules designed to combat collusion, bots, and RTA.
Which brings us to a really interesting final thought. We've talked a lot about the tech, the AI pattern recognition, the device fingerprinting used to maintain integrity. It makes you wonder, in this online environment, how much does your reputation really depend not just on how you play, but on how your patterns look to an algorithm?
Meaning, even if you're not cheating, could playing in a highly unusual, maybe statistically weird way accidentally flag you?
Exactly. Could perfectly innocent but highly atypical play put you under permanent scrutiny? It raises questions about the consequences beyond just bans or confiscation. What about the damage to your perceived trustworthiness in a community where ultimately that trust is kind of the invisible currency? Something to think about.
A really thought-provoking point to end on. How does this constant automated oversight change how you think about your own game and reputation online? Definitely food for thought. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive, and we'll catch you next time.